Okay, before we get started, I want to say something clearly. This video is called Power Routing, but this applies to sailboats too, so don't skip it. What we're about to talk about applies to any boat offshore. It doesn't matter if you're sailing, motor sailing, or under power full time. This is about what happens to a boat in bad seas, and why some conditions are exhausting long before they look dramatic on a forecast. PredictWind gives us ways to see this in advance, but first, we need to understand the physics. In the last video, I showed you how to read routing output, why you don't just trust the pretty lines, why the real information lives in the graphs and tables. This video is about why those numbers matter so much under power. A lot of people think bad conditions are about high wind numbers or big wave height, but what actually matters is how energy is delivered to the boat. That comes down to wave period, primary, secondary, and tertiary wave directions, and how the boat is forced to move through that energy. Most people fixate on wave height. It's like fishing. The waves were 25 meters, but offshore, wave period matters more, especially under power. Short period waves pack the same energy into a much tighter punch. The boat doesn't have time to rise and fall smoothly. Instead, it's being forced up and down rapidly. That rapid vertical motion kills speed, increases fuel burn, shock loads equipment, loosens systems, and most importantly, it wears people out. Longer period swell can look bigger on paper, but often it feels far easier to live with. This is one of the most common mistakes I see people make when reading forecasts. Direction matters too. Under power, head seas force the bow to climb up every wave. Engine power gets converted into vertical motion instead of forward progress. If you think about the physics of it, your boat is literally trying to climb up the wave face over and over again. Beam seas, that's from the side, introduce rolling and snap loads, and quartering seas cause yawing and uneven prop loading. In all cases, the engine keeps pushing. So the boat keeps absorbing energy instead of shedding it. That's why two routes with similar wind and wave heights can feel completely different. To beat a dead horse, vertical acceleration affects all boats, sail or power. It's often more punishing under power. Not because engines are bigger, but because the propulsion keeps applying force regardless of the sea state. Instead of the boat naturally slowing to match the waves, more energy gets driven directly into the hull, with secondary loads showing up in the drivetrain, the mounts, the bearings, everywhere. This is something a lot of newer boaters get wrong. Engines don't solve bad seas. When you're sailing, the boat can naturally depower. You reef, speed drops, loads reduced. Under power, the engine keeps applying force unless you intervene. That means more impact per wave, more structural loading, and more fatigue per mile for both the humans and the boat. Yes, you can reduce RPM, but engine thrust isn't elastic. It doesn't naturally shed load to match each wave the way sails do. So the trick to power routing isn't finding a way through bad seas, it's identifying when not to try. And if you do get caught out, it's figuring out which direction minimizes the damage until things improve. Before we go any further, there's one important reminder. Everything we're about to look at, the graphs, the tables, the comfort numbers, is based on the power assumptions that you give the software. This is where you make sure those assumptions are realistic and not optimistic. This isn't about what the boat can do on a flat day. It's about what the boat will do hour after hour out to sea in real conditions. Just like sail routing or departure planning, the setup is simple. You tell the software where you are, where you want to go, and when you want to leave. PredictWind generates one route per weather model based on your powered boat assumptions. What you get back is a clean graphical representation of the nominal course. And again, this is where a lot of people stop. The map looks good, the lines look smooth, but the map alone does not tell you how hard the boat will be working, or how violent the motion will be, or how the conditions evolve over time. Just like we talked about in the last video, the map is just a visualization. The real information lives underneath it. When I'm power routing, I go to the graphs. This is where everything we just talked about becomes visible. This is where short period energy jumps out. You can see when conditions build and how long the worst of it will last and whether relief is coming. Sometimes waiting 6 or 12 hours reduces vertical motion, saves fuel, and preserves the crew. Once I understand the shape of the weather, I look at the summary table, just like in sail routing. And this is where PredictWind really shines under power. Two routes can have similar ETAs and feel completely different. This table makes that obvious, especially when you look at the vertical acceleration, the roll, and the comfort metrics. Here's the pro trick. Power routing isn't just for planning before you leave. I rerun my routing software at least every 12 hours. Every time the weather models update, you should update your route. Make this part of your daily routine. The ocean is dynamic, conditions evolve, and your plan has to evolve with them. I rerun routing offshore all the time. When timing shifts, when the conditions change, or when something just feels off. Good seamanship is continuous decision making, and this is a very good tool to help you make that. This video wasn't about engines. It wasn't about boat motion. Whether you're sailing or under power, understanding wave period, direction, and energy transfer is what keeps boats and crews from getting destroyed offshore. PredictWind gives you the tools to see this in advance, but judgment is still your job. In the next video, we're going to talk about safety systems, alerts, and AIS, and how to catch problems early before they turn into emergencies. I'll see you there.